What's up, everybody? I know, I look so excited. Anyway, this is Game 2, Round 2. I'm up against Brock Baker. We are both 1-0 at this point. Now, I do want to take a second and go through things a little bit. For anybody that wasn't following me on Twitter while I was going through this tournament, for anybody that read my St. Louis write-up on Nugget Bridge, it might seem weird and kind of pretentious and kind of cocky and kind of filled with a little bit of hubris that the title of everything was Calm, Confident, Humble. Particularly because I don't strike most people as a very humble person. And that is exactly why it was stay calm, stay confident, stay humble. Those are three things that I think were necessary for me to be successful at a tournament. And this match for me is kind of an example of that. Because when I sit down at a table and I look at the name and I look at the person and I look at their Game Boy and I look at their team and I am trying to pick out as much information about them, about their body language, about their building quality, everything that I can tell about them before we get in the match is going to come in handy to me. It's because I want to get in their head as best as possible. It's really hard for me to be on Battle Spot and see, a name and a team and be able to predict everything about what you're going to do. And I think that's true for most people. So on that, you're given even less information, and it can be more difficult. Playing at a tournament is kind of like playing poker in a lot of regards. There are a lot of games that can be won and lost just based on whether or not your opponent is bluffing a certain thing. So what I'm getting at here is that in order to make all the decisions that I need to have all the information that I can. And in order to see all the information, I need to stay calm. Because if I am nervous, if I'm scared, then I'm going to jump to conclusions before I have all of the information. So I have to stay calm so that I can see everything available to me. I have to stay confident because even if I see everything, if I'm not confident in the fact that I know that I've seen certain things, I'm going to lose because I'm going to make the wrong decision. So I have to stay confident because if I play passive, which is my default position, that is me. I play a very passive style. But if I'm not extremely confident as I'm hitting the mic, if I'm not staying extremely confident and know that no, I can play aggressive here because he doesn't expect me to, if I don't have that confidence, I'm just going to play passive. And if I play passive, I lose. So I have to have confidence going into every match. So I have to stay calm so that I can see everything on the field and see everything in the back. I have to stay confident so that I know when I can play aggressive and when I need to play passive. And lastly, I need to play humble. And this one is particularly hard for me because I'm not particularly a humble person. When you see me at tournaments, I think that I'm a totally different person than I am on stream or in recordings. So I try to bring a lot of fun and enjoyment to streams because it's where I get to kind of relax and play with Pokemon. At tournaments, I'm very much a serious person. And I think that strikes people as a little weird because I'm usually very lighthearted when it comes to Pokemon. But usually when I get up at a table, I look at the name, I ask the person in front of me, are you, like in this case, are you Brock Baker? And if he says yes, the headphones go in. Because I cannot stare at somebody and start picking them apart too far, otherwise I'm going to start getting arrogant and cocky. And when that happens, I stop making good decisions. And so looking at this team, when you first get down to the table with somebody like Brock Baker, and I'm not trying to say that as an insult, Brock Baker, I got to talk to Brock after all the matches that I played. He's a great guy, an enjoyable human being to hang out with. He was super kind. And I didn't keep up with him for the rest of the tournament after about round 4 or 5, but I hope he had a blast. I really do. He was a great guy, an absolutely kind person. So I don't want to take anything away from Brock. But when you look at this team immediately, you see Mega Lucario, Honestly, I think I can safely assume that that's Mega Lucario because it's the only Mega on his team. You see Groudon and you see Ho-Oh. And Lapras. I mean, those 4 things to me are immediate grounds to try and dismiss somebody. But one of the things that I have to remind myself is, in this format, you have to respect every single player, because it doesn't matter if that's a 0 IV in attack Groudon, it's still going to do a large amount of damage. And you have to be aware of that. I think that this format has leveled the playing field quite a bit. I don't think that it's made it so that the top-end players can't still win, because we see that Aaron Zhang is getting first place, that Wolf Glick is getting first place. Like, these big names in Pokemon are still at the top. Chuppa Cross got haxed out in semifinals, but he was still in the top 4. He's a great player. Steven Morioka, a 2-time Worlds player, was in the top 8. I mean, these are amazing players that are still doing extremely well. So I don't think that we've brought it back to the point where it's completely random and everything's up in the air and it's just a coin toss if you win. I don't think that. I think we're bringing out the best players still, but I think that this is demanding that the higher level players respect the lower level players, because we are all playing with a lot of the same powerful Pokemon. So, with that in mind, I had to remind myself when I sat down and saw Ho-Oh, which you don't see outside of the lower ladder, paired with Groudon, which I believe we've all thought about at one point or another. And then you see Mega Lucario, which we've all thought about at one point or another. And Lapras, which John Hu has kind of made famous, let's be honest. But when you look at this team, it doesn't seem like it has a whole lot of cohesion. And for me, it was a huge reminder that I had to stay humble, and I had to stay focused, and I had to make the reads that I needed to make. So with that in mind, I'd like to go into the video. And I think I've changed up the music this time, so now we're listening to the Aqua battle music. So at this point, usually I would lead out with some sort of speed control, and Kangaskhan, it's a very stable lead out for me. And in this case, I went ahead and went with Kangaskhan Talonflame, because I know that I'm going to be able to get the quick guard to prevent anything from Whimsicott. If that's the case, I know that I'm going to be able to match his Tailwind. I'm going to be able to Brave Bird into Whimsicott. So in this case, I'm really worried about this Ho-Oh and Sacred Fire. So you would think that in this particular moment in time that maybe I would want to ignore the Whimsicott, but I kind of ignored the advice that I'd taken from Josh, and I was like, okay, listen, I know it's got Focus Sash, but we're going to Brave Bird in here anyway, just to bring it down to its Sash so that we can get a little bit of damage in later. So now at this point, I'm like, alright, well, I'm about to get Encored into Fake Out, so I need to go ahead and Double Edge this Ho-Oh and Quick Guard, because I really don't want to deal with this. I know that Ho-Oh's Sacred Fire has a chance to burn, but it shouldn't pick up the KO unless he switches in Groudon. So there's the Groudon switch. Yay. And this is what I'm saying. If you don't respect your opponent's ability to make a decent decision, he's going to be able to catch you off guard. And I knew that this was potentially a thing, but I didn't expect it to happen. So there's the Sacred Fire. We can tell that this is a bulky Ho-Oh, and I'm lucky that I got the coin toss there and didn't get burned. So Ho-Oh goes down to a Double Edge, and that's pretty nice for me. I don't get hit with an Encore. Groudon comes in, I lose my King to Double Edge, and I've lost a Mega to a restricted Pokemon, which I think is a fairly even trade, but in the grand scheme of things, I don't think Ho-Oh really counts as a worthwhile trade for a Kangaskhan. I don't think that's necessarily the case. I'm a little disappointed that I gave that up so easily, but I've got Kyogre against a Whimsicott. The Worry Seed comes, which means that he's going to be able to go for fire moves. My rain's gone, so my rain boost is gone, but you know what, he's under Tailwind too, so I want to clear out this 1 HP on the Whimsicott. I've got Sharkbeak Talonflame, so I know I'm going to take maybe 1 HP-ish from the recoil, and since he's got now Special Groudon, I think we're in the clear. As long as my Origin Pulses land, I think we're okay. And we are. So, I don't know why the Worry Seed came in. I know that he would want to clear out the rain, but now we're at this point in this match where Lucario was actually one of the bigger threats on his team. Because I've got such a weakness to fighting, Lucario's actually a huge threat to me, and I wanted to make sure that I got Lucario on its own in the end, hopefully against Talonflame. For that exact reason, I really, really enjoy the fact that Talonflame's Brave Bird did that much damage. And we've got a bulky Kyogre, so we're able to clear this out pretty effectively. I could have gone for Ice Beam to clear out Lucario, but I was expecting that it was going to be closer to 60 to 70% on that Brave Bird, but we got it dealt with. So, that's round 2. 2-0. And then, of course VLC doesn't want to keep things going. Whatever. We got a blank screen. White. Awesome. Great. Okay, I'll see you guys for the next one.